to tune in to Alternative Frequencies, the show that brings you what the other side has to say. Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of Alternative Frequencies, the supernatural in your living room. I'm very excited about our guest this evening. Mr. Rick Waid, who is a psychic, will be joining us to give readings to call-ins. If you're not in the chat room, just go to hazyradio.com, click on the on-air chat button, and you can join all of the other alternative freaks right here in the chat room. While we get Rick on the line, I'm going to take a quick break to get the disclaimer out of the way, and also a quick word from our sponsors, so please stick around.
Dixie Ghostland Paracon, Aiken, South Carolina, July the 27th and 28th, 2013. www.lightstream-media.com. 4 major paranormal and historical hotspots, paranormal celebrities, paranormal acknowledgments and awards. Come see paranormal celebrity Blaine Rohan of Scare Radio International, Stephen Hill, author of Something Unseen and radio host of Alternative Frequencies, Andrea Perrin, author of the trilogy House of Darkness, House of Light, Jason Staton of Ghost Chat Radio, The Paranormal Rebel with Sepia, co-manager of TAPS, Jeff Leeper. Also see Daryl Campbell of My Ghost Story Caught on Camera, the entire team of paranormal pros, Kim Brulette and Chris Matheny, co-authors of Secrets in the Shallows, and radio hosts. See the Bama Boys of Deep South Paranormal, Sci-Fi, and Keith Age of Spook TV and the Orbtones. Come to Dixie Ghostland Paracon, www.lightstream-media.com.
If you'd like to find out more about Something Unseen, you can do so by visiting Amazon. Check out The True Story of My Haunting, Something Unseen.
The views and opinions expressed on this network do not reflect anyone here. Thank goodness, because there's a reason we're all on radio instead of TV. Therefore, we shall not be responsible for any personal injury, property damage, accident, delay, world wars, sudden appearance of unwanted nose hairs or blemishes, collapse of the World Bank, freak accidents, delays, or inconvenience, or more importantly, being out of chocolate fudge ripple ice cream at Ben & Jerry's.
Ay, caramba!
We take responsibility for nothing. We know nothing and will admit to nothing.
You're listening to Alternative Frequencies with host Stephen Hill. Now back to the show.
And thanks for sticking around during the break. We're back here live. I'm Stephen Hill, your host, and I'm very excited to announce my special guest tonight, Mr. Rick Waid, who is a psychic and an author. And Rick, just a pleasure to have you here this evening.
Thank you very much.
And thanks for taking your time to come back on for the second week. I found your story so interesting last week that just had to have you back on. And, you know, I was mispronouncing the name of your book, and there's a funny story about that. Would you care to talk about that story?
Yeah, well, actually, yeah, it was My Paranormal Obsession, One Man's Journey, but you actually switched it around. My Paranormal... Hey, well, hang on. I said My Paranormal Obsession, One Man's Journey, and you changed it around My Paranormal Journey, One Man's Obsession. And I like that way better. So I went with that name for my book. So I was pretty happy.
Well, I'm glad my dyslexia worked out to your advantage, and because I felt so sorry I was mispronouncing the name of your book. But that worked out, and I'm glad. Well, Rick, we're going to take some call-ins tonight, and I know this is your first time on the air giving readings. And
yes,
guys, the way we're going to do this, we're going to hold it to one-question readings, so we can get as many people who wish to call in and speak to Rick on as possible. And if you'd like to call into the show, and I'm posting it in the chat room now, if you're not in the chat room, go to hazyradio.com, click on the on-air chat button. You can join all the other great folks right here in the chat room. But the call-in number is 704-246-3460. And I'm sure Rick would love to hear from you for your one-question reading. And you can call in now. Of course, we can only take one caller at a time, so if you don't get through, just keep trying. But, Rick, I'm glad that worked out, the title of your book. You said you checked with your publisher. And
yes. She liked it, too.
Well, I thought that was pretty cool. But while we're waiting on that first caller, oh, well, we already have a first caller. We're not going to have to wait long. Let's see if I can add it without cutting us off. Area code 603, you're live on Alternative Frequencies.
Hi, Steve. It's Kirsten, Spooky Palooza.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. It's fantastic to talk to you.
Well, it's an honor to speak to you as well. And I'm very excited to have Rick Waid on the line with us. You're live with Rick. And he will give you a one-question reading, if you wish.
Oh, gosh. I guess I wanted to leave it kind of open and see what he was just picking up. I didn't want to put him under the gun, you know.
Well,
you can ask whatever you would like, you know. It's no big deal. Do you have anything?
Oh, gosh. Well, I just kind of wanted to know what you're kind of picking up about me.
Okay.
That's one question.
Yeah, that's one question. Hang on a second here. Okay, first of all, it's kind of interesting. I see animals around you. And actually, I see a few animals around you. Do you like pets?
Sometimes.
There's some reason why I'm seeing small animals around you. So, and I don't know why that is, but it actually is coming to me. Let me see what else is coming through here. Okay?
Yeah, certainly. Take your time.
I'm seeing something, I'm getting like an ancestor. I'm getting an actual female coming through. Okay?
Okay.
And she's saying for you to don't be scared. Don't be scared. And you need to actually go forward with what you're thinking about doing. Does that make sense to you?
Well, I suppose. That would seem kind of... All right. Don't be scared, really. Okay.
Well, she's saying, you've been hesitating.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I hesitate about.
And who is this female I'm picking up on? Is this like a grandma? I'm getting a female. And she looks like she's a little heavier set woman.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sort of.
Okay.
Not really obese or anything like that.
No. I'm it's just like my mom was actually. She was like probably about 150. So we're talking something like that. That's what I was seeing. Okay.
Yeah, that does make sense, and it's kind of interesting. All right.
Okay.
And yes, to answer your question, I am surrounded. I have a dog and 2 cats, and anything that happens to roam over into the house, like an opossum that was in my breezeway the other day.
Okay.
It just happens. They come find me. All sorts of stuff comes and finds me, oddly enough.
Well, I can see that you're pulling that. The energy that you have pulls all the animals, and it's kind of interesting because some people. They don't have animals around them, but, I was sensing the animals around you. So that's the first thing that came through. So there's a lot of joy and happiness that you must give these animals, which is really nice.
Oh, good. Well, at least it sounds like my energy's in a good place.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I think that was,
Rick.
I think it was pretty good, Rick. Pretty good. And, Spooky, thanks for calling.
Oh, thank you for having me, Steve. It was a pleasure.
Well, Rick, I think that was a good reading. You saw the animals around her, and she's got dogs and cats and possums. I mean, what do you want?
Well, it's interesting about the lady that came through, too. And she was actually just trying to push her on to make a decision and move on. into whatever she decided to do.
Well, trying new things can be very scary, especially if it's a personal relationship or a new job. And I think that was great advice. Now, you said you saw a lot of animals around that
Yes,
collar.
that's the first thing that came through.
And I've always been drawn to animals, and I feel that they're drawn to me. I mean, while we're waiting on that next caller, by the way, the calling number is 704-246-3460 for your reading from Rick Waid. Rick, do you see any, I've always been drawn to animals. Do you see anything for me?
I see birds around you.
Oh, wow.
Which is interesting, As soon as you said that, as soon as you started talking about it, I could see birds around you, and actually bigger birds.
Well,
but it's interesting.
That's funny, because this weekend I'm going to Aiken, South Carolina for the Dixie Ghostland Paracon, and I'm staying with a friend of mine who has a giant cockatoo. Well, it's not
really?
Giant, very big, but that bird loves me, and I love her. And so that's funny. And I've worked 2 bird rescues for Feathered Friends Forever, which is the largest parrot rescue in the southeast. And I've co-emceed 2 fundraisers for them. And I'm fixing to be surrounded by big birds. So great, that is great. We have a caller on the line, and this is my friend Joe Ciope Sr. Joe, how are you this evening?
I'm just fine, thank you.
That's great, Joe. Do you have a 1-question reading for Mr. Rick Waid?
Yeah, it might sound silly, and I'm not being too serious about it, but I just got a brand new concert ukulele, so it occurred to me that I should ask if I'm going to have a concert.
Really? A brand new ukulele. Well, that's pretty interesting. As soon as you said that, of course, Shirley Temple. Who is that one that does that, that sings and does the ukulele?
Oh, man, I don't know. Shirley Temple, probably.
Tiny Temple. Yeah, that's the first thing that clicked in my head, which is kind of funny. Yeah, that's actually, let me think about that now. Well, I'll tell you what, I do see many people laughing and enjoying your entertainment. You must be a pretty funny guy.
That's good enough.
So you are a funny guy, is that correct?
Well, I try to be funny, I guess.
Well, that's very interesting, though. Rarely do you see anybody play ukulele. That's definitely interesting. My dad actually played every instrument. He actually played a saw, which is really interesting. He made that whining sound with the actual saw. Yeah. And he sold 50,000 copies back in the 50s, which was pretty amazing. And I never met this man, but I'll tell you what, I was pretty excited to get his information. I got all of his whole history in my basement right now. It's very, very, very cool.
Well, Joe's just learning to play, I know. And
I know he wants to play. That's a good thing, though, Joe. I've seen you before around.
I was advised by another psychic to beat my depression and do something creative. And I've always, I played the guitar before, but, in my old age, my hands are numb and they're somewhat swollen and so forth. So I sort of gave up on the guitar because it's harder to play. And I saw a lady with her grandchildren, and they were all playing ukuleles. And it just seemed like a good alternative. They're much easier to play. And it wouldn't cost me a lot of money to get one. So, and she agreed to show me how to play it. So,
well, that's pretty interesting. Anytime anybody do time of day, that's great.
I wasn't really serious about the concert part.
Well, I still see a lot of people around you enjoying your company, which is a good thing. You must be one heck of a guy.
Well, that was the point, I think, to get away from being by myself,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Well, I know that...
well, sure helps.
I know that I play a little bit of 6-string guitar myself, and I know that music is a great release of emotion. And I think that was good advice, Joe, to maybe deal with some depression you were going through, because playing does release emotion, and it's a great thing. Do you have anything else for Joe, Rick?
Well, I was going to ask, I kept getting information that kept talking. I kept seeing his knees for some reason. Are you having issues with your knees?
Well, I'm very heavy, and occasionally one knee does hurt a little bit. But all my life, I have my aching in my knees, and we always call it arthritis or whatever.
Yeah, I just instantly I zone in on the knees, so that's usually what my guys usually show me something. So definitely that was definitely what they wanted me to tell you.
You have to be careful with them.
Yeah, definitely.
Everybody in the old age home here has knee problems. They have every other kind of problem too, but
yeah, I actually hurt my back today and pulled it out of it was just swelled up and everything today. So I've been on a hot pad all day. So last couple hours. So I'll tell you, that old age gets to you, buddy.
Well, it's funny you talk about the hot tub. That really does help, and I've been exercising at the Y and just walking in the water, And
oh yeah, that's definitely good.
Weight off my legs and everything, and
I
really improved my comfort. Like the swelling in my ankles and all that. It's all gone away.
Oh, that's beautiful.
You wouldn't think just walking around in the water would do it, but it does.
Oh, yes, definitely. I need to get more in the water. It'd be nice. I need to go swimming, loosen my body up, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate Joe. I appreciate you coming. I've seen you around many times.
And, of course, for those of you who don't know, Joe Cioppi is the creator of the Joe's Box, my favorite spirit communication radio. So, Joe, thanks for calling.
All righty.
And,
thank you, Joe.
Keep playing that
Always
ukulele.
A pleasure to call. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, my friend. Well, Rick, very good. You tuned in on Joe's knee problem. Do you actually feel that, or is it just shown? I know
it was just shown.
Okay.
I actually zoned right in. I was showing a kneecap. So
that is awesome. I know some people that their gift they feel, and I'm sure that would be a very painful way to to help someone if you're feeling their ailments. But I'm sure it's very accurate as well. If you'd like to call into the show, again, the call-in number is 704-246-3460, and we'd love to hear from you. We're live here with Psychic Rick Waid, and he's giving readings for the first time ever on the air, and so far he's doing an excellent job. So don't hesitate to call in. And it's funny that the first caller, Spooky Palooza, she and I had an email conversation, and she said, well, I'd like to call into for a reading, but I'm really hesitant. And my reply to her was, you only fear what may be revealed, and don't be afraid, call in. And then you told her that a family member was telling her, don't be afraid, move forward. And she mentioned that in the chat room and called my attention to it, and that's why I thought I would bring it up while we are waiting on the next caller. But yes, Rick, I will be with a large bird, as you said, and you had no way of knowing that, all weekend.
Spooky, is it Spooky Palooza? She actually came on my site and said a few nice comments. And I didn't know about it until I just actually went and looked. Usually nobody leaves a comment, so that was very nice.
Yes, I love to hear from people that appreciate, what we do. It always makes me feel good. I'm glad to hear from them. But we are ready for the next caller. If not, I'm going to take the next reading. Again, the number is 704-246-3460.
Well, Joe actually took a little pressure off me. He was a funny guy.
Yeah, Joe is, again, a real dear friend of mine. We converse often, and creator of the Joe's Box Spirit Radio that I got so many great files on.
You know what I usually see? Whenever I usually do readings, I actually usually am alone, and I usually can hear and feel and see. So, and usually people don't ask me questions. They actually just come on and ask for a reading. I zone in and give them what I see, hear, and feel. And that's usually where my strong points are, because I get that correct information coming through. This is a different way of doing things, so I'm learning, but I have to actually kind of expand my mind on it and try to understand, how to do it this way, because, usually they don't ask the question. I usually just zone in. So maybe the next caller, maybe I'll just zone in and see what's going on, see if it's a different way,
Yeah, and have you ever given readings from chat or emails?
No, I've never done any of that. I always do. They just ask for a reading, and I find a time, relax. It usually takes me a few minutes to actually get in their energy. I do it in Facebook and chat like that. And it usually takes me a little while, but once I start hitting, then I start hitting, then I start hitting, then I start picking up things. But it's something to do with the computer and actually typing. I just feel that flow because I've been doing it for so long, the same way. So this is something different for me, but, I'm here trying to learn and trying to understand and seeing, try to expand my mind and try to help whatever I can. So it's kind of a different thing, but I'm excited and I'm waiting for the next caller.
Yeah, well, me too. Rick, what do you see coming up while we're waiting? I hate to work you to death, but it is my show. I should get a reading. You saw the birds, but what do you see coming up for me in the remainder of this year? Do you see anything good, bad?
Well, honestly, I see some positive things.
Well, that's good.
I'm seeing you're going to be getting a lot of attention here, partner. I could see that. You're going to get a lot of attention. I think that what I'm seeing is you're actually going to be doing some speaking. And I see a lot of people actually going to be coming to your actual speaking, to your shows, which is kind of interesting. But I see a lot of happy people around you and actually showing a lot of support for you.
Well, that's great. And, I think what we're going to do now, Rick, we're going to take a quick break. It's nearing the bottom of the hour. And when we come back, the phone lines will be open, 704-246-3460, and we will be right back.
Dixie Ghostland Paracon, Aiken, South Carolina, July the 27th and 28th, 2013. www.lightstream-media.com. 4 major paranormal and historical hotspots, paranormal celebrities, paranormal acknowledgments and awards. Come see paranormal celebrity Blaine Rohan of Scare Radio International, Stephen Hill, author of Something Unseen and radio host of Alternative Frequencies, Andrea Perrin, author of the trilogy House of Darkness, House of Light, Jason Staton of Ghost Chat Radio, The Paranormal Rebel with Sepia, co-manager of TAX, Jeff Leeper. Also see Daryl Campbell of My Ghost Story Caught on Camera, the entire team of paranormal pros, Kim Brulette and Chris Matheny, co-authors of Secrets in the Shallows, and radio hosts. See the Bama Boys of Deep South Paranormal, Sci-Fi, and Key Age of Spook TV and the Orb Tones. Come to Dixie Ghostland Paracon, www.lightstream-media.com.
If you'd like to find out more about Something Unseen, you can do so by visiting Amazon. Check out The True Story of My Haunting, Something Unseen.
The views and opinions expressed on this network do not reflect anyone here. Thank goodness, because there's a reason we're all on radio instead of TV. Therefore, we shall not be responsible for any personal injury, property damage, accident, delay, world wars, sudden appearance of unwanted nose hairs or blemishes, collapse of the World Bank, freak accidents, delays, or inconvenience, or more importantly, being out of chocolate fudge ripple ice cream at Ben & Jerry's.
Ay, caramba!
We take responsibility for nothing. We know nothing and will admit to nothing.
You're listening to Alternative Frequencies with host Stephen Hill. Now back to the show.
And we're back here live with Mr. Rick Waid. This is Alternative Frequencies. I'm your host, Stephen Hill. And Rick is giving readings. And all you have to do is call into the show. The telephone number is 704-246-3460. You can dial right in on your phone and get a reading from Rick Waid. Rick, while we were on the break, we were talking about love lives and love experiences. Have you had much experience with giving those type of readings?
Well, usually what I do, like I said, I usually just zone in and see what I hear and feel. And usually I get a lot of people come in and they'll say, listen, they want to know if their husband's cheating or their girlfriend's cheating. But I actually don't respond to anything like that. I just, give them what I can give them, any support I can give them. But I've had a lot of people come to me because they're having relationship issues. But a lot of my majority of the reads, I usually connect with actually their missing loved ones, or they actually passed on, their mom or their dad. And I usually pick the information up just off of a name. So usually they just give me a name, and I usually do this on Facebook, or I do it on some of my sites. But I just have them put down 3 or 4 names of a lost loved one, and then I zone in, and I try to give as much information as I can. And usually I will connect with 1 or 2, or even sometimes 3 or 4 of the names that are given. And I give them as much information as I can, and they take that information and then they connect it to their life or to their loved one, and then they come back with a response. And that's how I do all of my readings. So it's just a better situation because I can actually relax. I'm not actually communicating with anybody, but just the actual spirits, the names that I'm connecting with, which is really nice. And sometimes whenever I'm connecting with the actual person that's asking for the information too, which is kind of nice. So I kind of get all that packaged in together. But it's usually a pretty good time. I usually enjoy it, and I usually get some really great responses back. So I like doing it that way, and it's a really great way to do it because I connect better, and I hear more, and I feel more. So doing it like this, I'm trying, and I'm hoping that we get some callers in here so I can actually get a little more practice in. It'd be kind of nice.
Practice makes perfect, and
yes, it does.
I find what you do incredible, and especially with the missing persons cases. We talked about that a little bit last week on the show, but you were telling me that you have worked on some missing person cases, and I think that would be a very hard thing to do because before you make any of that information public, there's a great pressure on you to be sure that the information is accurate.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of times I won't make it public. I tried that before, and then all of a sudden people just come at me left and right. So, you got to be careful what you say out there. But, I usually try to keep it clean. I mean, there's usually anything bad comes through, I keep that private to the actual family member. One thing interesting is whenever I do past lives, it's really cool because the past life that I read actually connects with their future or their current life. For instance, I actually I did a read for a lady, and I kept seeing what was her name? She was the Western lady that kept shooting the guns. Annie Oakley.
Yeah, Annie Oakley. There you go.
Yeah, I seen her one time, and I was reading this lady, and I just told her, I see Annie Oakley, and I see this. I see you're a really good gun shooter. And then she came back. I even gave the year, I was just saying, I don't know that much about history. And she came back. She sent a big portrait, like a 6-foot by 8-foot portrait of her Annie Oakley in her house. She's obsessed with Annie Oakley. She loved her to death, and she's an excellent shooter. So it's just interesting how you can actually see them in the past and actually be their current life too, which is really interesting. That's why my past life reads went really well. And then picture reading, I just tried everything. So I'd say, please put a picture up. And then they'd put a picture up, and I wouldn't know if this person alive or past, and they just put it up there, and I would go ahead. And I would just zone in on the energy, and I would just be picking up exactly what happened to the person. I would smell the actual flames from the actual car accident or the fuel, or I could actually feel the pain in my head where they actually hit the windshield with their head. So it's really neat to get all that information. Looks like we got a caller coming.
Yeah, we do, Rick. Area code 717. You're live on Alternative Frequencies. Hello. Hey, how are you?
I'm doing just fine, and how are you guys doing?
Not bad. How you doing?
Doing great.
Doing all right.
Can you tell us who you are?
On the chat room, my name is Asariel, but my name is Maria.
Maria, that's a beautiful name.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Do you have one question for Rick?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Does he see me moving out of my place or staying put?
Do I see you moving out of your place or what?
Or staying put.
Well, actually, I feel that you're actually going to be moving.
Okay.
I think it's actually going to be a better place, better situation. And
Excellent.
I see water, so I feel that water is a good thing for you. I think water actually is a healing thing for you, and it would be a great thing to actually move into this new atmosphere. It will actually help you and heal you, which is a beautiful thing. And I definitely, it's almost like a paradise I'm looking at, which is really neat. So it's you're going to have the waters, you're going to have the beautiful trees. So I think it's definitely a positive thing to actually move on. Definitely.
Good, thank you.
You're very welcome. Now, do I know you?
And enjoy the rosaries.
Do I know you? Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. And how are you doing?
I am doing great. She actually made me a rosary.
Wow.
She's a friend of mine.
Awesome.
And she's very, very kind. And the thing is about her, she actually picks up a lot about me every time she chats with me. She picks up something I'm doing currently that day. And it's just, she'll send over a song, she'll send over a picture. It will be amazing how she's actually connecting with what I'm doing that very moment. So I really appreciate it. And actually, I did a read for you before in Facebook chat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you asked me to pick up on an actual individual, and you want to say anything about that?
Not right now, no.
And it made sense, right? Everything that was coming through?
Yep.
Huh?
Yep.
Are you there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay. I'm just getting this. Yep.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. So, yeah, definitely, I think the move would be great.
Excellent. Thank you.
Well, Maria, thank you very much for your call.
You're very welcome.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for the call.
You're welcome.
She's funny.
Well, she sounded delightful. Beautiful name, Maria. Rick, I think that was a very good reading. We had another caller come in. Unfortunately, I can only take one call at a time, or we don't want to overwhelm you with questions and energy. But if the caller will call back, I promise you this time I will answer the line. But Rick, past life regression, I think that is a awesome subject. And once I was told I was on a submarine in World War I. And maybe that's why I'm so dang claustrophobic. I don't know.
Okay.
But I find past lives very interesting. And how do you do that? I mean, you just get visions of who you're connecting with?
Basically what I do, and for instance, when you was talking yourself, who is the guy that carries the thing on his shoulder, the globe or the Earth? What's his name?
Atlas.
I felt a connection with you with Atlas, which is interesting.
Wow.
But as soon as you started talking about that, I seen that come through. It looks like we've got another caller.
Yeah, we do. Excuse me, here, got a frog in my throat, ribbit. Area code 802. You are live on Alternative Frequencies, and please kill your PC speakers. Hello.
Hello?
Yes. Who do we have here?
Susan Nader.
Hi, Susan. How are you this evening?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm just fine. And you're live with Rick Waid. Do you have a question for Rick?
I guess I don't have a specific question other than, am I on the path that I'm supposed to be on currently?
Well, I see some actual stops, and and definitely what you need to do is actually go around those stops. I'm seeing that you're actually maybe struggling a little bit right now, and what you need to do is actually stay focused on what you want to do, and it will happen for you. Definitely.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate that. I believe in that fully, but, it's always nice to have a few signs. We always want signs, right? Show me I'm on my right path. But I appreciate that. I believe in that 100%.
And,
so thank you.
You're welcome. And, I keep hearing uncle with you for some reason. Uncle. I don't know why I'm hearing uncle. Yes. And sometimes I hear names or I hear, but there's something going on with an uncle. I don't know why the uncle is coming through. Do you have an uncle that's actually passed?
No, I don't. I've lost a lot of loved ones. My husband, my father, my mother, my friend at 37 just a few weeks back. So I've lost a lot.
Can I have a name?
But,
Can I have a name of your one that's passed?
My husband's name was Mark. Yes. My husband's name was Mark. My father's name is Fred. Mark. Yeah.
Okay.
My father's name was Fred.
Okay. I'm getting working with their hands. I see. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, my husband was in the restaurant industry, so he cooked a lot, but,
okay.
And my father worked with mail. He was a postman.
Okay. Why do I keep hearing Italian? I'm hearing Italian.
Italian?
Yes. Is that like a...
he was Syrian, but I lived in Italy for over a year.
Okay. So, okay. Well, that's what I was probably picking up. I just kept, hearing Italian. So it's kind of interesting. See, you actually lived there for a while. Definitely.
I was in the military.
Wow.
Okay. That's interesting. Definitely. It's really weird. I keep hearing running. Is there a reason why I'm hearing running? Are you running from something?
Yeah. No, my husband was a runner.
Okay.
No, my husband was a runner. He had one of the largest 5K races in the Midwest, Non Pasta Eat Pasta, which was an Italian. He worked for an Italian restaurant, so.
Oh, that's very interesting. Definitely. So it's obviously some information is coming through, which is kind of interesting, which we all like. And I really appreciate you coming on tonight. And I always, if anybody needs a read, a longer read, they can always come and actually come onto my website and ask. So I can always zone in and better. So if you want more information, because I'd love to talk to people that actually have lost people, because I really connect really well with that. And so that would be really nice.
I would love to be able to. I walked with my mom for her last couple of months in October to December, and I'm a very spiritual individual. I believe we're all connected, and I just asked her. I said, "Mom, when you go, will you come back and show me that you're okay?" Like, I believe that she could come and let me know that she and Dad and Mark and everybody else, they're okay wherever they go, right? Wherever we go, we're done with this human body. But I would love to be able to tap into that with you further if that was possible.
That would be I would love to help you out, definitely. And I'm either seeing some flowers coming your way, or I do see some fresh flowers, but I see some flowers coming your way. So something's coming up to where you can actually get some flowers, which is really nice.
Perfect. Thank
you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time, Rick. And I will reach out to you further.
You reach out to me, because I can definitely help you, I promise.
Bless you, and thank you for your call.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, hon.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate it.
Have a great night.
You too.
You too, hon.
Well, Rick, they're just lining up now. Let's see. Who's calling now? Area code 256. You're live on Alternative Frequencies. Hello.
Hey, this is Sherry Freeman.
Hey,
How are
Sherry.
you guys tonight?
Hey, how you doing?
Well, just fine. Thank you so much for calling. Do you have a question for Rick Waid?
Hey, Rick, I do. I was wanting to know if you see any kind of changes, job-related in my future.
Okay. Well, I'm actually getting that something to do with management. Okay, like you're going to be managing something. That was the first thing that came to me, was managing. I don't know exactly what you're doing now, but it looks like this is actually going to be. It's going to make you very, very happy. It's going to give you a little bit more freedom. So what you need to do is pay attention to this actually opportunity that's actually going to be coming your way. And it's going to come in. I'm feeling 3 to 6 months. I'm feeling there's something definitely going to be happening for you. And it's going to be into actually helping other people and managing people, which is a really nice thing to have.
Okay, cool. I've done that before, but no, actually I'm a bank teller right now. So.
Okay. Well, you say you've done managing before then. So how do you feel about that when you was managing? Made you more happier?
Well, it was a lot of work. I was happier because I did have more freedom. So.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I'm seeing here.
Possibility.
Yeah.
More money, too.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Definitely. So, yeah. So, yeah, I would look for that 3 to 6 months. I'm seeing more closer to 3 months. So it's going to be coming pretty quick.
Okay. Sounds great, Rick.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks for calling, Sherry. It's a pleasure to talk with you this evening.
You too. Y'all
And,
have a great night.
Look out for that new
Right.
job, that new management position. And wish you the best of luck.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Well, Rick, that was an interesting reading. We do have time for a couple more callers, 704-246-3460. If you'd like to call in, we do have time. We have approximately 12 minutes left. Rick, you gave me an idea a while ago. You asked someone to give you a name of a past loved one.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who have read my book, Something Unseen, you'll know that I lost my birth mother at a very early age, 6 years old, and her name was Bonnie. And I'm just wondering if she may have a message for me.
Okay. Well, first of all, whenever I seen the name, I seen something going on with some coughing. I don't know exactly what happened to her, but I definitely was seeing something going on with coughing. And let me see. She's saying, I'm getting an image of keep on the straight line. Straight line, does that make sense to you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm hearing. Keep on a straight line, and don't look back so much. In other words, don't dwell on the back, on the past. Keep on forward, which is kind of interesting. And she's saying, I'm hearing something about being wise. Being wise. Being wise. She's saying, always be wise in your decisions. Okay. Which is a really good thing. And something about keeping the stereo down. Can you keep the stereo down?
Well, it's funny. I lost my mother in a car wreck. The coughing may be attributed when I was a very small child. I had asthma very chronically. I had to have a shot. Several times I was rushed to the hospital and when I was very young, 4 or 5 years old, and a couple times I didn't think I was going to make it there because I couldn't breathe, and so I think that may have to do with that. What was the last thing you said? Her message was?
I said about the radio.
Oh,
music.
yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, that rings a bell. When I was 5, my uncle used to work for RCA, and he asked me what I wanted for Christmas, and I wanted of all things, I wanted a Beatles record. So Christmas morning, I opened up my present from him and my aunt, and it was a 45 single, and on the A side was I Want to Hold Your Hand, and I don't remember what was on the B side of that 45. But, yeah, they were always hollering at me to turn that. It was a little phonograph, 45 RPM phonograph. They were always hollering at me, turn that down, go to bed. But, you know, music is a great, you know, I'm empathic, and it's always been a great emotional release for me to listen to music. And when I heard the Beatles up singing I Want to Hold Your Hand, it's just a feeling of joy came over me, a euphoria. And I don't know how to describe it other than that. But I was just in love with that record, and I played it so much you could probably hear both sides of it at one time before I got through with it. But I think she was hitting on that. We do have time for one more caller. We've got about 7 minutes left. If you'd like to call into the show, 704-246-3460. And we would love to hear from you. Well, Rick, thanks for that reading. And, you know, I think that was what you said. Everything hit home with me there.
Well, thank you very much.
I believe you were in fact, connected. Now, how do you do that? Do you connect to my energy, you think, in some way?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. And it's just what it is I'm hearing things as, you know, when you ask the question, I actually hear things, and then I just give it back to you. So that's what was going on. I did a read for a gentleman one time. He's actually a big publisher of books, a big writer of books. And he, you know, he thought, yeah, let's give this guy a try. You know, he's pretty well known. And I did a read for him, and he came back and he said that what happened with the read basically was there was a favorite student he had in his class, and I guess this student actually took his life. Mm. And I kept seeing he was actually like a teacher. He was actually a teacher in school, and he had his favorite student that actually was a good kid, and always helped him out and everything. And I kept seeing this desk alone, you know, just a classroom with desks, but just this one was by itself all the time. And I kept seeing this boy's name, and I gave it to him, and he was just so blown away because that stuck in his mind, that one kid, because he actually took his own life. Mm. And, you know, just to see something like that for that person really heals that person, because they're not the only one feeling the pain now. I'm actually feeling the pain too. And I did a read earlier today, or actually I've done a few reads here in the last couple of days, just trying to get back into reading. And I'm telling you, it's just, I just bawled my eyes out today because I could feel the pain and the hurt from the actual person whenever they lose a loved one.
Yes.
And that is really, I mean, just unbelievable. I actually, it's almost an addiction for me to actually feel that pain. It's like I want to feel that pain. So when I give them that information, and then I know they're reading it, man, I'm telling you, I'm being tore up. And I even tell them, you know, I'm actually, you know, I'm having a hard time right now. And they're actually having a hard time too at the same time. But I'll tell you what, that feeling right there is the best feeling in the world for me. Because, you know, I lost my mom at 15 years old.
Wow.
And I was at school, and I heard, you know, she had died. And, you know, I stayed up every night, and I'd bawl my eyes out. Because my mom was everything to me. You know, I was a baby of 11, and you know, she was just my world. And I didn't have a dad growing up, so whenever she passed, it's like I took all my pain at night to radios. I'd listen to music and kept all my pain inside of me. And, I mean, I had that pain for a long time. Even, you know, in my late 20s, I still had that pain. I still held that pain. And it was because certain songs would bring that pain back to me. And I'm so emotional. Oh, looks like we got a caller.
Yeah, Rick, area code. Let's see, what was the area code again? I shut that one down when I added it to the call. 386. Yeah, area code 386. You must be psychic. Oh, you can see my screen. Area code 386. You're live on Alternative Frequencies.
Hi, Stephen. This is Sheila. How are y'all this evening?
Oh, we're just doing fine. I love a lady that says y'all because I can tell she's from my neck of the woods.
You know, I'm not sure. I think it may be even further south. I live in Florida. And,
well, you can't get much further south. Yeah.
I come by the accent, honestly, anyway.
Well, great. You can't get much further south than Florida.
No, you can't.
Well, you're live here with Mr. Rick Waid, and do you have a question for Rick?
Yes, Rick, I do. I have a grandmother who was very gifted psychically, and I was wondering if you get anything from her, or we just also had a...
What's her name?
My name's Sheila, I'm sorry.
Your grandmother's name.
No, what's your grandma's name?
Oh, Maggie.
Maggie, okay. And you said she was very gifted, you said?
Very gifted. She was very psychic. She was psychically gifted her entire life.
Well,
but she was automatic reading and that kind of thing.
Can I ask you a question? Do you sometimes feel an actual whisper or an actual, like a breath in your ear? Because I got a feeling I can see her actually being near you and actually whispering. Do you ever feel like you kind of heard something and then all of a sudden like, okay, does that make sense? Okay.
I know that sounds silly, but
no, it really doesn't sound silly.
But I think I see things too. But it's like you only catch the tail end of whatever it is you're looking at.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing about fine tuning and actually paying attention. And definitely, I can feel her actually whispering in your ear. So when that actual whisper comes through, just concentrate and ask her to come through and actually give you more information. And for some reason, I keep seeing a footstool. I don't know why I'm seeing a footstool, but I was shown I was just thrown in a footstool for some reason. Sometimes, go ahead.
I believe she used one.
Okay, because that's usually what happens. I see objects because I remote view. So this actually was thrown in, basically just thrown in my vision, which is kind of interesting. But just, and the strangest things come through, but they make sense usually. So I don't know how many people use as footstools nowadays, but definitely I thought that was interesting for that to come through. And plus, for some reason, I keep seeing her grabbing her arm. I don't know if this is just something, but I keep seeing her grabbing her arm for some pain in her arm. So I don't know. It looks like it's a left arm, too.
That would be a stroke.
Pain in her arm. She had a heart attack. That's how she died.
Okay.
It may have been that's the way that it started. The pain in the arm.
Because I see her grabbing the arm, the left arm. So I definitely and I keep hearing "miss you." She keeps saying "miss you, miss you, miss you," which is really a good thing. So you might even see that around, "miss you, miss you." So I don't know if that's something that's actually even seen around, but you will be seeing it around because it's going to be shown to you.
Oh, I see. Well, I certainly appreciate the reading. I really do. Yeah, she was a special lady, no doubt about it.
Oh, yeah, I see a lot of laughing, and what I'm seeing here, I'm actually seeing on, you put a person on their knee and you bounce them. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm definitely seeing that. Which is interesting.
Yeah, Grandma Maggie was something else, let me tell you. She actually moonshined during the Prohibition to feed her family, so.
Wow.
Another thing is really funny that's coming through is my mom used to do this. She used to actually play with the spoons. You know what the spoons is?
Yes, of course. Yeah, she did. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That is crazy.
and that's very rare to see, but yeah, I could definitely see that happening. So I was being shown that, so definitely.
That's really, really interesting. I love it.
Absolutely amazing. And Sheila, thanks for the call. We are out of time. And again, thanks for the call.
Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you so
It's been
much.
fun.
Good night.
Okay, good night. Well, Rick, you have been an outstanding guest. I'd like to thank you so much again for taking your time to come on and try to help people. And I'm honored to be your first live readings on the air, and I'm sure you'll be doing a whole lot more.
Well, I really appreciate it. It was a little nervous there getting started, but I was feeling way better at the end.
Okay, my friend, and we will talk to you soon, I'm sure. And
Thank you very much.
If not, I'll see you on the other side. Well, guys, that was Mr. Rick Waid. I thought he did an outstanding job giving readings for his first time on the air, and so happy that he chose my show, Alternative Frequencies. Coming up next week on the show, Miss Deborah Pickman of the infamous Sally House. So be sure to tune in. Well, this has been Alternative Frequencies. If you'd like to sponsor the show by advertising your service or event, contact stallturn4@gmail.com. That's STALLTURN4@gmail.com. Until next week.